girl, you are so pretty, 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 pretty. Baby girl, you are so pretty, 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 pretty. Females made you just to trick me, trick me, trick me, trick me. 'Cause baby girl, you are so easily pretty. The only reason that I can do tonight is 'cause I know you were invited. The only reason that the stresses can die is 'cause I thought that you would like it. I'm only gone for the secret outside, because I want you to like that. The only reason I can do tonight is because I really like you, and I can no longer hide it. Want to remember your mind, the laces that goes over your digest. Why just tell me that you feel like I do?
Hi, this is Jessica Javens Talk, Season 1. Welcome to today's episode. This is a podcast that helps you transform your life inside out into a life you truly love. Today's guest, we're going to be talking about relationships. That's one of the main quadrants of life that we have to take very good care of. And we're going to dive into that subject with a doctor that I recently met that is absolutely fantastic. Every word she says, I completely connected with, and I'm so happy that I had the privilege to meet her. So please welcome Dr. Jennifer. Please, how are you doing today?
I'm great. Thank you so much for having me and for your kind words. I'm glad you connected with what I said, and I'm super happy to be here and see where this goes today.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it for you taking time of your busy schedule. Tell us a little bit about you before we get started.
Sure. So I'm Dr. Jennifer Bellingrodt. I'm a licensed psychologist of over 20 years, an author, an executive coach, a trainer, a podcaster. I wear lots of hats. My favorite is the work that I do every day. So that is specializing in personality disorders. And I also work with couples. I wrote a book about couples. It's called Fix Your Freaking Marriage, Practical Tips to Just Start Somewhere. So that's available out there in the Amazon and Barnes & Noble world. A couple of other books in the works on menopause and betrayal. So I love writing. That's also one of my favorite things to do. And I'm excited to talk about relationships today because it's my jam.
I love it. I love it. I can't wait to read your book. Can't wait. We were talking about it the other day, and so many different things came out of it. So I'm sure we're going to be talking about some of it right now. So I was wondering, when you're helping couples and their relationships, what are the 3 top most common problems that you encounter?
So I would say the most common things that couples fight about are money, kids, sex, and then division of labor. Those are the 4 top ones in that order generally. So that's primarily what I see.
Wow. That's a lot. Now, since you also help people with some mental disorders, how often does that play a part in these top problems that you're dealing with, and when the couples are bringing those issues and you realize that you have to do more than maybe just help them with becoming more mature on their relationships?
Yeah, so I would say it never doesn't play a role because we're all broken, right? Nobody's perfect. We all have baggage, whether that's a little, carry on or like a, cargo ship worth of baggage, whatever your issues are, we all have them. And we bring those with us wherever we go. So we get in our own way, and helping people figure out how they're in their own way and how that's impacting their relationship. That's really the fun part of what I do, doing a deep dive into family of origin, figuring out these core beliefs that they have that developed into self-limiting beliefs that now create problems in their relationships, and they don't even know it because a lot of this is subconscious. But I would say it always plays a role, and especially, if it's to a larger degree. So if there are quite a few mental health issues, hurt people. So once we get right and healthy, then we're going to be healthier in relationships. Water tends to seek its own level. So I would say it's always an issue because we all have stuff. We all bring it with us wherever we go.
Perfect. I love what you said. So because of that, do you feel that most of the times you have to work with the couple and with them individually as well?
Yes, that's my protocol actually, is I will meet with each couple member for a few sessions to get a full thorough clinical intake on each of them, figure out what their, issues are individually, how that's transforming into issues or translating into issues in the relationship. Then once we do that thorough intake, then we come together and we meet, all three of us, and we continue with working in that conjoint format unless there's something that comes up and I can say, hey, you know what, so and so, why don't we go ahead and do an individual session about this and really unpack this for you, and then we'll reconvene with the conjoint work.
Wonderful.
So yes, absolutely, individually first.
Wonderful. And what type of, let me say, maybe one of the most common exercises that you do with these couples to start helping them to shift that pattern or that way of thinking, that mindset that they have towards where it needs to be for their relationship to be healthy?
Well, I think a lot of that occurs in the individual sessions with just helping people understand where they come from. It's very difficult to rewrite your personal narrative if you don't even understand where it came from in the first place, how you got there, right? So I kind of build that into the individual work, like, oh, okay, well, it's possible that some of these role models that you had growing up or some of these beliefs you developed are interfering with your relationship now. And then some of that doesn't really bear itself out until all three of us are together. And so then I can, with their permission, I can bring up like, hey, okay, so here's what's happening. You're getting caught in that belief, and you know where that comes from. You have the choice now to do something different. You have the choice to get out of your own way, grow up, whatever, however you want to put it, and be more mature in this relationship. So do differently. Let's do something different. What you're doing isn't working. So shift your perspective. And actually, for a lot of people, it's a paradigm shift. So it even goes beyond a mindset shift where you're shifting their whole paradigm for how they do relationships and how they see themselves in relationships. So a lot of that is, like I said, built into the individual process. And then as we're doing the couple sessions, some of that stuff comes up as well.
So I know that a lot of these issues and different things you speak about in your book. What is it that motivated you in the first place to write the book, and how you deliver the message on that book?
I think a couple of things. So being married for over 20 years has taught me a lot about myself and my relationships, who works, what doesn't work, how we've navigated challenges. And then also working with couples for over 20 years. My gosh, you learn a lot. You learn a lot, right? Because again, we bring our stuff with us wherever we go, and people are very different. And sometimes people similar end up together. Sometimes people very different end up together. And so you can have issues in either situation. And just helping people navigate that for, 2 decades plus now. It started with a podcast. I did a 3-part podcast I called it Marriage on Autopilot. And then I realized, and I think that was, 12, 15, 20,000 words by the time I was done with all 3 parts. And I was like, you know what? I have a lot more to say about marriage. Mm. So I took the podcast, cut and pasted all of it, put it in a document, and then it just blew up from there. So then I added chapters about forgiveness and why relationships don't work, how to deal with difficult personalities, how to navigate conflict. And it just kind of took on a life of its own. 76,000 words later, I hit publish, and here we are.
That's amazing. So why do so many relationships not work?
It really comes down to immaturity. So the distance between your current relationship and happily ever after is only as wide as your immaturity. Any 2 people can get along if they want to. So if they're not getting along, it's because one or both of them are immature. And so helping people to see, again, how they're in their head, how they're in their own damn way, those are the things that you really have to dissect and unpack with people for them to see, oh, wait, okay, that's my old stuff. That's my baggage getting in my way. Here's a different way to do it. And a lot of it is skills teaching, like making sure people have a different way to do it because they don't know a different way. Normal is what you know. So they're doing it based on what they know, how they grew up, what they lived through. And it's teaching them that there's a different way, a more mature way.
Is that in any way related also to age? Like, for instance, let's say that, I don't know, a couple marries in their early 20s and, you know, in your own body is still, your brain is still being developed at that time. So I'm thinking like they probably don't have all the emotional development on their brain to sustain maybe even themselves first to then to be able to start a relationship with somebody else. So do you think that it has to do you have more couples coming at a young age because of that? Is that related in any way in your opinion?
Definitely. Excuse me. In the first part of my book details 11 reasons why marriages don't work. And that's one of them, is people just get married too quickly and too young. We know that the frontal lobe, the part of the brain that's responsible for executive planning, decision-making, judgment, inhibition, that doesn't even fully develop until at least 25 years old. And so that the immaturity there can cause its own problems. People grow and change and evolve, and sometimes they outgrow each other. They outgrow their old patterns. They're doing things differently. Their partner is not. So maturity plays a role there. I think also the immaturity speaks to, or age, a young age, speaks to the impulsivity part. So people get together, they're having a great time. A lot of them have on what I call booty blinders, where they're just like having a great time. They're partying, they're having sex. It's amazing. It's wonderful. They love it. And then they get together and they're like they don't even know each other. Like they were just having a great time. And so it was a very immature reason, an impulsive reason to get married. So yes, age definitely plays a role.
Now I have a question for you. If a couple is married and we're always growing at different paces, different things. Of course, when we meet or when a couple decides to get married, they're probably maybe aligned at that point. But many times in life, because of many different factors, the growth it becomes unequal. Maybe one is growing and the other one isn't. What should that person do? Should that person who's growing, in order to save the marriage and keep it healthy, should they pace down their growth to wait for the other one to reach them? Or should they continue on their individual path of growth, which means they're going to be more unaligned? What do you think? What do you have to say about that?
I am a believer that you never dull your light to make someone else feel better. So we shouldn't be in the business of taking care of someone else's feelings, right? I'm not saying we have to be rude or crass or disrespectful about it, but you shouldn't dull your light. You should still shine. So I would say you keep going, keep growing and changing and evolving, because we do that until we die. Once you've stopped doing that, as far as I'm concerned, you're already dead. So I think what you can do in that situation is you can lovingly, compassionately talk to your partner, invite them on the journey with you, or at least make it clear, like, hey, I'm on this journey and my thoughts and feelings about these things are changing. Can we talk about that? Because I feel like we're disconnected, or we might get disconnected because we're kind of pursuing different paths. Let's just talk about it and just kind of share honestly where you're at, but still be compassionate, right? You don't want to attack your partner or be disrespectful or anything like that. But yeah, don't dull your light so someone else feels more comfortable.
Interesting. Yeah, I had personal experiences with that, and the years kept passing by, and there is an element of trust and of love of the other partner saying, you know what, this sounds interesting. I'm just not ready for that right now, and I don't know when I'm going to be. And that didn't happen only once; it happened to me a couple of times. So, and that's the thing. It's like in one of the occasions, the person said, "You know what? You have to keep going, and I need to grow by myself." And we parted ways because I think there was an amount of pressure, and then of course, out of love, you don't want to hold somebody back. So then let's do this. Maybe this is better for us not to be together anymore, and it's sad in a way. And I think that this is a very common thing, and I don't know if everybody's aware. And it all happened in peace, like you said. But it's a very sad thing because you're trying to build something very strong here, possibly the most important relationship of your life. And then because of us being different and being maybe exposed because of career or decisions that we make to different types of growth, we part ways. Do you see that happening? And in your experience, like a person really trying to do what you just said, but is still it just doesn't work. You don't admire that person anymore. The person is on their own journey. I am a person who respects the journey of everybody, but when it comes to a relationship with a partner like that, it's not your son, it's not your friend, it's not your parents, it's not your neighbor, it's your partner. It's like it's the one relationship that you want to be on that journey together.
Yeah, absolutely. I think if a partner can recognize, like, hey, I'm just not where you are, and I love you enough to say I'm going to bow out and you go do you because I don't want to stifle you. I mean, that's very loving, very mature, obviously, very respectful, very compassionate. I think it's very mindful of where they are and what they want for someone they love. I mean, I think I don't know how often that happens. And maybe it's because those people don't end up in my office, right? They're mature and they can part ways if they need to. And they're not interested in therapy because they realize they're just so different. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I mean, I think if someone is that astute and in touch with what's going on with them, that's beautiful. Probably rare, but beautiful.
Yes, thank you. Let's talk betrayal. Let's talk about when a couple goes through something like that. Do you think it's possible to have a full, because you talk about forgiveness on your book. Do you think that after, let's say the person decided to forgive, do you think there is a complete healing after that? Is it possible to have a complete healing after that?
I believe it is. Again, I don't know data to say what the numbers are, but I do know that most couples where there is infidelity actually stay together. The data does tell us that. The research from therapy and recovery and things like that, most couples stay together. Some relationships, lots of relationships, end because of it for various reasons, and of course we understand that. But most couples will stay together, especially if it's like a one-off, like a one-time thing. When you're talking about like a serial cheater, sometimes those people stay together too. A lot of times it's because the partner who's been cheated on feels trapped or they don't think they can do any better. That's a whole other, paradigm to discuss. But most couples where there's infidelity do stay together. And I think that the book actually has an entire chapter on infidelity, and there's no such thing, in my opinion, there's no such thing as affair proofing your marriage. Like, there are no guarantees. You can't completely prevent that, but there are things that you can do to make sure that you're connected, make sure that you're open and discussing feelings and temptations. I mean, these are real parts of our world. So discussing that. And then after the infidelity, it's really important to engage in trust building exercises. And I detail a whole bunch of ways to do that. But if you can trust is the cornerstone in a relationship. Yeah. It comes even before love. So if you can rebuild that trust, then you can survive.
I feel like sometimes that insecurity of what if creeps in. And I think that's a normal thing. We have a tendency of probably thinking negative things or observing the negative. So it's very difficult to sometimes control that. But it does come up. If a person is really trying to heal, right, they're already forgiven, they want to be in that peaceful place, and those thoughts pop up. And sometimes they're thinking maybe, oh, is this my intuition or is this me just being insecure? And it's hard to know which one that is. How do the person deal with that? Is that something where they just have to do an exercise and practice, or is there a moment where they just have to refocus? Like, okay, I had that thought. I know that now I need to focus on the qualities of my partner or what he's done good to me today. So, slowly shifting that mindset. You know what I'm saying? What do you think? How can we deal with that?
I think you don't want to disavow your intuition, right? So if there's something tugging at you, pay attention to that. And I would say the partner who's cheated on should also get some therapy, because they have to come to terms with that. They can work through forgiveness with a therapist. They can do couples therapy too. But just making sure that they're actively engaged and their partner is a willing partner in rebuilding the trust, making sure those those things are being done that show that your partner is trustworthy, that you can trust them, and so forth. And I think it's a choice. And I don't think you should ignore those feelings. To your point, I think you should honor those, bring it up for discussion, talk about it in therapy, and make sure those trust building and trust maintaining activities are rolling daily.
Very important. Communication. And, another thing that I see or hear is that sometimes when a person feels this way, they tend to maybe talk to somebody like a psychologist. But if they're not doing that, they might speak to a friend about it, a person of trust that they have. However, the reason why they might not talk to their partner is because they don't want to seem insecure. You know what I'm saying? And if that's something that happens constantly, it might bring to the point where they might start making the partner feel like, you know what? I don't think that this is going to work. Your insecurities are not going away. And so they might struggle with that. So what would be a suggestion of how to bring this conversation up with the partner if you're feeling insecure about something in that relation after a traumatic event such as infidelity?
So I think what you don't want to do is be defensive. Right. So, and that goes with immaturity. So if you have a suspicion that your partner is doing something inappropriate again, to say like, go off on them. Where were you? Why weren't you there when I called? Peppering them with questions, that's going to put them on the defense. Mm-hmm. And then that's going to put you on the defense more. And it's just this vicious cycle. It's a downward spiral. So I think just honestly saying, hey, look, I'm working really hard to overcome what has happened in our relationship. I'm struggling with something right now, and I'd like for us to talk about that. I don't want to fight with you. I'm not accusing you. I am really trying to come to terms with trust again, and I just want to talk this out. And I think, when you've been cheated on, you have the right to feel insecure. And so I think as long as you can go to your partner in a compassionate way and say, hey, I really want to work through this, but I need some reassurance. And I want to, run this past you. I want to tell you what I'm wrestling with. And some partners can handle that and some can't. I've seen both. I've seen partners who are like, absolutely, babe. What do you need? Let's work on this. As you know, I'm very, very sorry. I don't ever want this to happen again. Let's talk about it. Let's do this, or let's take it to therapy, or, some people will pray together for peace about it, whatever it is that works for them. But just staying connected and going to them honestly and in earnest, just saying like, I'm trying to get through this. There's this thing right now that I want to talk about.
Yeah, that's beautiful the way that you just said that. That's such a practical suggestion. I think sometimes because you're feeling insecure, it's difficult for you to put those words, but it's very important that you really put thought before bringing it in, because it can turn the conversation completely to the other side that you did not want to, and it might become even worse than when you arrived with a problem. Now we have another one, so it just
Right.
blows up the whole thing. When the
Exactly.
purpose was the opposite, you know. Very, very good. Share with us here, if you had to pick three top suggestions that you possibly bring on your book, tell me three suggestions that you would give to every couple out there, or a person who's in a relationship right now, or somebody who's thinking about getting into a relationship. They're meeting people. What are the three top most important things that you can leave them with for them to take away and apply right away?
So if they're looking for a relationship or just getting into a relationship, I think it's really important to make sure that you're whole. Make sure that you are as healthy as you can be. You know, again, water seeks its own level. So the healthier you are, the healthier the people you're going to draw into your realm. And so making sure that you're healthy and you're going into it with your eyes wide open. Secondly, I would say leave sex out of it, straight up. Sex is the easy part. 1 + 1 is 2, okay? It's not difficult. We can do that. There are so many other ways to connect. In my book, I talk about 8 types of intimacy, and sexual intimacy is only one. So get to know someone in all of these other ways first, before you give of yourself sexually. That's something that it should be very personal, and it's not something you can take back. Like once it's done, it's out there and you've given of yourself in that way. And then if the relationship ends, sex adds another layer of hurt. And so I think just making sure you focus on getting to know someone in these other ways is really important. The third one I would say is trust your gut. So if you're getting into this relationship, maybe you go out on a couple dates with someone and something is just rubbing you the wrong way. Maybe this person is too arrogant, or maybe they say you can tell a lot about someone by how they treat people who serve them. So if you go to a restaurant and this person is a jerk to the servers, like wherever those instincts or that gut reaction comes from, trust that. Don't ignore it. I mean, if it's a one-off, sometimes people have a bad day, but I always say 3 is a pattern. So 1 is a fluke, 2 is serendipity, and 3 is a pattern. So unless it's something egregious right out of the gate, like run then. But if it's a smaller thing, like see if it's a pattern, or if this person just had a bad day, or see how they make amends if they do make a mistake. Just again, eyes wide open and trusting your gut level reaction to this person. Don't ignore that.
Wow, you said fantastic tips. Thank you so much for sharing those. Now, a lot of people want to learn more from you and about you. So please share here with us your channels of communication and how they can follow you.
Okay, so the place that I'm probably the most active is actually TikTok, and that's Shrink Think with Dr. Jen. So I do a lot of posting there. I do a lot of talk about personality disorders, specifically borderline personality. So if someone has that interest or is struggling with that, that's a great place. I have a podcast and an Instagram. Both of those are The Psych with a Mic. So the podcast is a mental health podcast. I talk about different mental health topics. Facebook is just my name, Jennifer Bellingrodt. You can find me there. So I think that's everything. And then the book, the marriage book, is on Amazon and Barnes and Noble. Other books coming out, so stay tuned for that. Keep looking. You can follow through Amazon. You can follow my author page. So then you'll get notified if I produce anything else.
That's perfect. So if you are watching this episode, make sure that you follow her, make sure that you keep in tune and watch her podcasts, and make sure that you like this episode and share it to all of those people who are thinking about getting into a relationship or are in a relationship right now, so they can empower themselves and their relationship to a relationship they truly love. Click subscribe and follow me for more. I want to also say that this show has been brought by Forever Living, which is the best aloe vera juice in the world that has helped me to completely transform my wellness. It's also brought by the Through the Vine Wine Bar in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and produced by the I Am Beast Network. My name is Jessica Javens, and this is Jessica Javens Talk.
Baby girl, you are so pretty, 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 pretty. Baby girl, you are so pretty, 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 pretty. Females made you just to trick me, trick me, trick me, trick me. 'Cause baby girl, you are so easily pretty. The only reason that I came to tonight is 'cause I know you were invited. The only reason that this dress is skin tight is 'cause I thought that you would like it. I'm only gone for the secret outside because I want you to like it. The only reason I came to tonight